Awakening the inner power. Within the labyrinth of the human soul lies a wellspring of power that has been all but forgotten in the din of modern life. This inner force, ancient and boundless, pulses through the fabric of existence, waiting to be awakened. The sages of old understood this truth, though it remains elusive to many today. The teachings they left behind, inscribed in the hidden corridors of Hermeticism, Gnosticism, Rosicrucianism, and alchemy, point to a transformative journey that begins not with the external, but within. This is the journey toward self-mastery, toward unlocking the dormant potential that rests beneath the layers of conditioning, fear, and limitation. For, in truth, the power we seek outwardly has always been a part of us, woven into the very essence of our being. As you embark on this journey, you will find that success, mastery, and growth are not attained by force of will or action alone, but by aligning with the deeper currents of consciousness that shape reality. The ancient sages understood that the key to transformation lies in the mind and spirit. They knew that the universe itself is a mental construct, a living expression of divine thought. And so, the first lesson we must learn is that true power resides not in external circumstances, but within the depths of the mind. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are the architects of our reality, shaping both the visible and invisible realms. The Hermetic principle of mentalism, the teaching that all is mind, guides us toward understanding this fundamental truth. But this book is not merely an intellectual exploration of ancient wisdom. It is an invitation to unlock the hidden strength that exists within each of us. The journey ahead is one of deep introspection, where you will be called to examine your thoughts, challenge long-held beliefs, and confront the aspects of yourself that have been left in the shadows. Yet, this is not a path to fear, for it is through the alchemical process of transmutation, where base thoughts are turned into higher understanding, that we uncover our true potential. The transformation we seek is a gradual process of refining the self, akin to the ancient alchemists' pursuit of turning lead into gold. It is a journey of continuous awakening, where we move ever closer to the realization of our divine nature. In the modern world, many seek external validation, chasing after fleeting moments of success and satisfaction. They look outward for answers, believing that their power lies in their accomplishments, their possessions, or the opinions of others. Yet, those who walk the esoteric path understand that real success, lasting, meaningful success, can only be achieved when one has first mastered the mind. The teachings of Hermeticism, Gnosticism, and alchemy reveal that external success is a reflection of inner mastery. When the mind is clear, when the spirit is aligned, the outer world bends to the will of the inner self. This is the essence of true power, the ability to create reality from within. As you delve into the chapters that follow, you will discover ancient techniques and philosophies that go beyond the superficial and touch upon the profound mysteries of existence. The path of self-mastery is not a one-size-fits-all journey, but a deeply personal process of self-discovery. You will be guided through the Hermetic principles that govern the universe, the alchemical processes that mirror the transformation of the soul, and the esoteric teachings that unlock the doors to higher knowledge. These teachings, once reserved for the initiates of secret orders, are now available to those who are willing to look beyond the surface and into the depths of their own being. By the end of this journey, you will have a new understanding of what it means to be truly powerful. You will see that the power to transform your life, to achieve success, to find fulfillment, and to realize your highest potential, has always been within you. This power is not granted by external forces, nor can it be taken away by the vicissitudes of life. It is yours to claim, to harness, and to use as you see fit. But it begins with the mind. It begins with the decision to turn inward and awaken the hidden strength that has been lying dormant, waiting for you to remember who you truly are. Now, as we begin, set an intention for this journey. Reflect on the areas of your life where you feel constrained or disconnected from your true potential. Hold these areas in your mind as you read, for the teachings within these pages are not merely theoretical, they are practical tools for transformation. You are about to embark on a journey that will challenge, inspire, and awaken you to the truth of your inner power. And as you move through the ancient wisdom of the sages, remember that the answers you seek have always been within you, waiting to be revealed. Chapter 1. The Hermetic Principle of Mentalism, All is Mind. In the grand scheme of the cosmos, there is a singular truth that lies beneath all creation. The universe itself is a mental construct. This is the foundational teaching of the Hermetic Principle of Mentalism, which states that the all is mind. From this profound truth, all other principles arise. The mind, in its infinite potential, shapes not only the thoughts and emotions we experience, but also the very fabric of reality. To understand this is to unlock the first key to self-mastery, for if the mind holds the power to shape the world, then mastering one's mind is the path to mastering one's life. The ancient sages who walked the hidden paths of Hermetic wisdom knew that everything begins in the realm of thought. Whether it be success, failure, joy, or sorrow, all experiences are born in the mind. The external world is but a reflection of our inner state, a mirror held up to the thoughts we cultivate and nurture. The Hermeticists taught that, as above, so below, as within, so without, illustrating that the world within is intricately connected to the world without. And so, to transform our external reality, we must first begin by transforming our thoughts. Consider for a moment the power of a single thought. It is a spark, a flicker of energy that arises in the mind, yet it carries the potential to shape entire lifetimes. Thoughts, when focused and given form, become intentions. Intentions, when nurtured and fueled by emotion, become actions. And actions, repeated over time, solidify into reality. The sages understood this process well and likened it to the art of creation itself. Just as the universe was birthed from the divine mind of the All, so too are our personal realities birthed from the thoughts we hold most dear. The power of mentalism lies in this realization, that we are the creators of our own lives, whether consciously or unconsciously. Yet, many wander through life unaware of this truth. Their minds, unfocused and scattered, are like leaves blown by the wind, easily swayed by external forces and circumstances. Without mastery of thought, the mind becomes a servant to the whims of the world, reacting rather than creating. This is the condition of many, unaware that they possess within them the power to shape their reality. But those who seek the path of wisdom understand that the first step toward liberation lies in reclaiming control over the mind. To master the mind is to become the architect of one's fate, rather than its victim. How then does one begin this process of mental mastery? The ancient teachings offer a clear path. It begins with awareness. Before any thought can be controlled, it must first be observed. This is the art of mental vigilance, the practice of watching the mind without attachment. It is a practice that requires patience, for the mind is restless by nature, leaping from one thought to the next like a wild flame. But with discipline, the mind can be trained to stillness. And in that stillness, true power is found. The Hermeticists taught that in stillness, the mind becomes like a calm pool of water, reflecting the light of higher consciousness. It is in this state of mental clarity that we can begin to direct our thoughts with purpose and intention. As you reflect on this chapter, consider the state of your own mind. Are your thoughts scattered, influenced by the external world, or are they focused, guided by a deeper sense of purpose? Do your thoughts serve you, or do you serve them? The journey of self-mastery begins with this question, for to shape your mind is to shape your reality. The power of mentalism is not an abstract concept, it is a practical tool for transformation, one that can be wielded by anyone who is willing to take responsibility for their thoughts. Remember, the mind is the seat of all creation. What you hold in your thoughts will eventually manifest in your life. The question is not whether you are creating, but what you are creating. By becoming conscious of your thoughts and directing them with purpose, you can begin to align your inner world with the reality you desire. This is the first step toward unlocking the hidden power within you, a power that, once awakened, can transform not only your personal reality but the world around you. As we move forward in this journey, keep in mind the teachings of the Hermeticists. The all is mind. The universe responds to the thoughts you hold, for it is born of the same substance as your mind. To master the mind is to step into your rightful role as the creator of your own destiny. Let this be the foundation upon which you build the life you seek. With the key of mentalism in hand, you are now ready to explore deeper mysteries and unlock the alchemical power of transformation that lies within your very being. Chapter 2: Alchemy of the Mind, Transforming Base Thoughts into Gold. In the sacred chambers of ancient alchemists, where the elements of the universe were believed to converge, the great work of transmutation was not merely about the transformation of physical matter. It was the transformation of the self, the elevation of consciousness from base instincts and limiting beliefs to the golden state of enlightenment. Alchemy is a process of refinement, and though it is often associated with the pursuit of turning lead into gold, the true alchemists understood that the base metal to be transmuted was the mind itself. The stages of alchemical transformation, nigredo, albedo, and rubedo, are not just physical processes. They are stages of mental and spiritual evolution. Nigredo, the blackening, represents the dissolution of old patterns, the dark night of the soul where one must confront their inner shadows. This is the stage where the mind is purified, where limiting beliefs and negative emotions rise to the surface to be acknowledged and dissolved. In this phase, one must face the darkness within, for only through this confrontation can true transformation begin. It is a necessary purification, the burning away of impurities in the crucible of self-awareness. Many fear this stage, for it requires an honest look at the self. The shadows that linger in the corners of the mind, fear, doubt, insecurity, are not easy to face. But the ancient alchemists knew that this confrontation was essential, for in the ashes of the old self, the seeds of the new are planted. Nigredo is a metaphor for the darkened state of the mind when it is clouded by unconscious thought patterns. It is only through purging these limiting beliefs that the mind can ascend to higher states of clarity and awareness. From the ashes of nigredo, the second stage of alchemy emerges, albedo, the whitening. This stage represents purification and enlightenment. After the dissolution of the old self, the mind becomes a blank canvas, receptive to new thoughts, new insights, and new possibilities. It is here that clarity begins to dawn, like the first light of day after a long night. The mind, having been freed from its base limitations, can now begin the process of refinement. In albedo, one's thoughts become clearer, more focused, and more aligned with higher truths. This is the stage where the light of wisdom begins to shine through, illuminating the path ahead. Albedo is the stage where the alchemist begins to see beyond the illusions of the material world and understand the deeper, spiritual nature of reality. Thoughts become a tool for creation rather than reaction. The mind is no longer clouded by doubt or fear. It is a radiant force of intention. This is the phase of mental clarity, where the alchemist learns to direct their thoughts with precision, focusing on the pure essence of what they wish to manifest. Albedo teaches us that the mind, once purified, holds immense power to shape reality in alignment with our highest purpose. The final stage of the alchemical process is rubedo, the reddening, which symbolizes integration and unity. In this stage, the alchemist unites the purified mind with the spirit, integrating the lessons learned during Negredo and Albedo into a cohesive whole. Rubedo is the completion of the great work, the moment when the alchemist has transmuted their base thoughts into the gold of higher consciousness. The mind, now fully refined, becomes a tool for manifesting one's divine potential. This is the stage where the individual recognizes their true power as a creator, capable of shaping not only their personal reality but also contributing to the greater harmony of the universe. Rubedo teaches us that mental mastery is not an isolated achievement. It is the culmination of a process that involves the mind, body, and spirit. It is the realization that true power lies not just in controlling one's thoughts but in harmonizing them with the greater forces of existence. In this state of integration, the alchemist becomes a channel for divine energy, using their mind to manifest wisdom, love, and purpose in the world. The base metals of doubt and fear have been transmuted into the gold of self-mastery, and the alchemist emerges as a radiant being of light and wisdom. As you reflect on the alchemical process, consider where you are in your own journey. Are you in the Negredo stage, confronting the darkness of limiting beliefs and negative emotions? Are you in the Albedo stage, beginning to experience the clarity that comes from purifying your thoughts and aligning with higher truths? Or perhaps you are approaching Rubedo, ready to integrate your mental, emotional, and spiritual insights into a unified whole. Wherever you are, know that the process of mental alchemy is ongoing, a continuous journey of transformation and refinement. The teachings of alchemy remind us that transformation is not a single moment of enlightenment, but a lifelong process of turning base thoughts into gold. The mind, like a crucible, must be tended with care and patience, for it is through this inner work that we unlock our hidden potential. Alchemy teaches us that the mind is the true philosopher's stone, the key to unlocking the divine power within each of us. As we continue this journey, let the stages of alchemy serve as a guide. Remember that Negredo is not a place of despair but a necessary phase of purification. Albedo is the dawning of clarity, the moment when the mind begins to align with higher truths. And Rubedo is the culmination of this process, the integration of mind and spirit, where the alchemist realizes their full potential. In this journey of mental alchemy, you hold the power to transform your thoughts, elevate your consciousness, and manifest the life you desire. Chapter 3: Esoteric Anatomy, Understanding the Subtle Body and Mental Power. To unlock the true power of the mind, one must first understand the hidden anatomy that lies beneath the surface of physical existence. Ancient esoteric traditions, such as Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and Eastern mysticism, teach that the human being is not merely composed of flesh and bones but also of subtle layers of energy that intertwine with the physical body. This esoteric anatomy, the subtle body, holds the key to the mysteries of mental power and spiritual evolution. The mind, like a master conductor, directs the flow of energy through these subtle bodies, influencing not only our thoughts and emotions but also our physical well-being. The subtle body is often described as a series of overlapping energy fields, each corresponding to different aspects of our being. The etheric body, astral body, mental body, and spiritual body form the energetic matrix that surrounds and interpenetrates the physical form. The etheric body is the closest to the physical and serves as a blueprint or energetic double, guiding the health and vitality of the physical body. It is the link between mind and matter, as thoughts and emotions influence the flow of energy through this layer, affecting our physical health in turn. When our thoughts are chaotic or negative, the etheric body becomes disturbed, leading to blockages in energy flow that can manifest as illness or fatigue. Beyond the etheric layer lies the astral body, which is associated with emotions, desires, and the subconscious mind. It is in the astral body that the interplay of our emotions and thoughts truly begins to unfold. Strong emotions, whether positive or negative, create ripples in this astral layer, influencing how we perceive the world and interact with others. The astral body is also the vehicle of dreams, intuition, and imagination, where the mind's deeper, more symbolic nature reveals itself. Mastering the astral body is essential for mental and emotional balance, for it is here that unconscious patterns and suppressed emotions can be released or transformed through conscious awareness. The mental body, as its name suggests, governs thought, logic, and perception. It is the domain where ideas take form and where our ability to focus, reason, and plan originates. However, the mental body is not merely a repository of intellect, it is also the interface through which we shape reality. Thoughts are not passive. They are active, vibrational forces that influence the energy fields of the subtle body. As Hermetic teachings reveal, the all is mind, and the mental body is the architect that designs the patterns by which reality is constructed. To harness the full potential of the mental body is to become the master of one's fate, consciously shaping the direction of life with clarity and intent. Yet even beyond the mental body lies the spiritual body, the highest and most subtle layer of our being, often referred to in esoteric traditions as the causal body or the higher self. This layer transcends the duality of thought and emotion, connecting us directly to the divine or cosmic consciousness. The spiritual body is the source of wisdom, insight, and the eternal truths that guide our journey through countless lifetimes. It is here, in this sacred dimension of our being, that the deepest mysteries of existence are revealed. When the mind aligns with the spiritual body, it transcends its ordinary limitations and begins to access the higher truths that govern the universe. True mastery comes when the mind can flow seamlessly between these layers, drawing insight from the spiritual body, clarity from the mental body, and energy from the astral and etheric bodies. The flow of energy through the subtle bodies is regulated by energy centers known as chakras in Eastern traditions and sephirot in Kabbalistic thought. These centers are the gateways through which mental, emotional, and spiritual energy is absorbed, processed, and distributed throughout the body. Each center corresponds to different aspects of our being: survival, creativity, willpower, love, communication, insight, and spiritual connection. When these centers are aligned and balanced, the flow of energy through the subtle bodies is harmonious, allowing the mind to function at its highest potential. However, when these centers become blocked or imbalanced due to negative thought patterns or emotional trauma, the flow of energy is disrupted, leading to mental confusion, emotional instability, and even physical illness. Understanding this subtle anatomy is essential for those who seek to harness the full power of the mind. The thoughts we entertain and the emotions we cultivate do not merely remain confined to the brain or heart. They ripple outward into the subtle bodies, influencing the flow of energy throughout the entire being. By mastering our thoughts and emotions, we can ensure that the energy flowing through these subtle layers remains clear and unobstructed, allowing us to access the full potential of our mental and spiritual powers. The mind is the key to this mastery, for it is through conscious awareness that we can direct the flow of energy, release blockages, and align ourselves with higher frequencies of thought and emotion. As you reflect on your own subtle anatomy, consider the connection between your thoughts, emotions, and physical well-being. Where do you feel energy is flowing smoothly in your life, and where do you feel blocked or stagnant? Are there patterns of thought or emotion that keep you tethered to lower frequencies, draining your vitality and creativity? By becoming more conscious of the interplay between your thoughts and your subtle body, you can begin to clear the blockages that hold you back and allow the energy of your higher self to flow freely through every layer of your being. The journey of mastering the subtle body and mental power is a lifelong one. It requires patience, self-awareness, and a deep commitment to inner transformation. Yet the rewards are immense, for as you align your mind with the energy of your subtle bodies, you begin to experience life with greater clarity, creativity, and purpose. The mind, when fully awakened and aligned with the spiritual body, becomes a powerful tool for manifesting your highest potential. In mastering this esoteric anatomy, you unlock the mysteries of both mind and spirit, and you step into the role of the conscious creator, capable of shaping your destiny with wisdom and intent. Chapter 4. The Power of Thought Vibration, Attuning to Higher Frequencies. All things in the universe are in a constant state of vibration. This is an immutable law, one that has been echoed through the ancient teachings of Hermeticism, Gnosticism, and various esoteric traditions. The Hermetic principle of vibration reveals that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. From the most dense matter to the highest forms of spirit, everything that exists resonates with a frequency unique to its nature. And nowhere is this principle more evident than in the realm of thought, where the vibrations of the mind shape the contours of reality itself. Every thought we have, every emotion we feel, sends out a ripple, a vibrational wave that influences both our inner world and the world around us. The mind, with its limitless capacity for creation and perception, is the most powerful instrument of vibration in existence. When we focus on a thought, we are not merely experiencing an internal mental process. We are attuning ourselves to a specific frequency of energy. Just as a tuning fork resonates at a certain pitch, the mind resonates with the vibrations of the thoughts it entertains. The challenge, then, is to learn how to consciously attune our thoughts to the highest frequencies that will support our spiritual growth, mental clarity, and success in the material world. The ancients knew that thought was the foundation of creation, and they understood the importance of aligning one's mental vibrations with higher, more harmonious frequencies. Low-frequency thoughts, such as fear, anger, and doubt, resonate at a dense, heavy vibration that clouds the mind and obstructs the flow of spiritual energy. These thoughts trap us in cycles of limitation, for they anchor the mind to the physical plane, where scarcity, conflict, and confusion reign. By contrast, high-frequency thoughts, such as love, gratitude, and clarity, elevate the mind, lifting it into the higher realms of consciousness where intuition, wisdom, and inspiration reside. These thoughts are lighter, more expansive, and they open the gateway to the subtle dimensions of existence. The power of thought vibration lies in its ability to attract and resonate with similar frequencies in the universe. This is not merely a matter of positive thinking, as it is often presented in modern self-help literature, but rather a profound principle that governs the nature of reality itself. Just as a radio must be tuned to the correct frequency to receive a signal, so too must the mind be attuned to the vibrational frequency of what it seeks to attract. If you hold thoughts of abundance, love, and success, you align yourself with the higher vibrations that correspond to these states of being. The universe, like a great symphony, responds to the frequency you emit, resonating with it and sending back energies that reflect the quality of your thoughts. But how do we attune our thoughts to these higher frequencies? The first step is to cultivate awareness of the vibrational quality of our mental and emotional states. In the same way that you can feel the heaviness of fear or the lightness of joy, you can train yourself to sense the vibrational quality of your thoughts. Negative or limiting thoughts often feel contracted, as though they weigh down the energy field and create a sense of disconnection from higher consciousness. Positive or expansive thoughts, on the other hand, feel uplifting, energizing, and aligned with a greater flow of life. By paying attention to these subtle energetic cues, you can begin to discern which thoughts elevate you and which ones drag you down. Once you become aware of the vibrational quality of your thoughts, the next step is to consciously shift your focus toward thoughts that resonate at a higher frequency. This is where the art of mental discipline comes into play. Just as a musician must practice to refine their craft, so too must the mind be trained to release negative or low vibration thoughts and replace them with thoughts that are aligned with love, gratitude, and clarity. This is not always an easy task, for the mind often clings to familiar patterns of fear and doubt. But with persistence and practice, you can retrain your mental vibrations, attuning them to higher states of consciousness that will support your personal and spiritual growth. The practice of gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for raising the vibrational frequency of the mind. When you focus on what you are grateful for, you shift your energy from a state of lack to a state of abundance. Gratitude opens the heart and lifts the spirit, allowing the mind to resonate with the frequencies of love, joy, and abundance. Similarly, cultivating thoughts of compassion, kindness, and understanding attunes you to the higher vibrations of unity and interconnectedness, dissolving the barriers of separation that lead to fear and conflict. It is important to understand that thought vibration is not a passive process. It requires active participation and intentional focus. The mind is like a tuning instrument, and it must be consciously adjusted to maintain the desired frequency. This is why practices such as meditation, visualization, and affirmation are so essential to maintaining high-frequency vibrations. Through these practices, you can train the mind to hold a steady vibration, even in the face of external challenges or negative influences. Just as a skilled musician learns to tune their instrument to perfection, so too can you learn to fine-tune your mind, ensuring that it resonates with the highest frequencies of truth, wisdom, and love. As you reflect on the power of thought vibration, consider the current state of your mental and emotional energy. What frequencies are you attuned to most often? Are your thoughts resonating with fear, doubt, or anger, or are they aligned with love, gratitude, and clarity? Remember, the universe responds to the vibrational quality of your thoughts, reflecting back to you the energy you emit. By raising your thought vibrations, you invite greater harmony, abundance, and success into your life, aligning yourself with the higher forces that govern the cosmos. In mastering the art of thought vibration, you become the creator of your reality, shaping your destiny with intention and awareness. The mind, when attuned to the highest frequencies, becomes a powerful tool for manifesting your true potential, unlocking the doors to spiritual wisdom and material success alike. Chapter 5. The Hermetic Principle of Correspondence, Aligning Inner and Outer Realities. As above, so below. As within, so without. The Hermetic Principle of Correspondence speaks of the profound unity that exists between the inner and outer worlds, the microcosm and the macrocosm. This principle has been whispered in the secret corridors of mystical orders, taught to initiates of ancient wisdom, and practiced by those who seek to master both their internal state and the external reality they inhabit. It is a principle that, once understood and applied, grants one the power to align the movements of the soul with the rhythms of the universe, creating harmony in both the personal and the cosmic spheres. At its core, the principle of correspondence reveals the inseparable relationship between the mind and the external world. What transpires within the depths of your consciousness manifests in the world around you. The inner terrain of thoughts, emotions, and beliefs reflects and influences the outer circumstances of your life. If you experience turmoil within, be it fear, confusion, or doubt, this chaos inevitably projects itself onto your external reality. On the other hand, if your inner world is filled with clarity, peace, and intention, the external world responds by mirroring that harmony back to you. The ancients understood that the universe operates like a grand mirror, reflecting the state of our inner being. This mirror is not literal but energetic and vibrational, responding to the invisible forces of thought, emotion, and belief. To master this correspondence is to master creation itself. Just as a sculptor molds clay into form, so too do you mold your reality by the subtle and powerful movements of your mind. The universe is ever malleable, responsive to the currents of your inner life. However, like any true art, Mastering this correspondence requires awareness, discipline, and an understanding of the universal laws that govern all creation. To align your inner world with the outer requires a deep, introspective examination of your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. Too often, we are unaware of the inner conflicts that shape the discord in our external lives. We may speak of wanting success, peace, or love, yet within us, old beliefs or unresolved emotions may be vibrating at a frequency of fear, self-doubt, or resentment. The Hermetic sages taught that one must first look inward before seeking to change the outer world. Without resolving the inner discord, we cannot expect the external reality to shift in our favor. Therefore, the first step in mastering the principle of correspondence is inner alignment, bringing your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs into harmony with your highest intentions. The process of inner alignment is akin to tuning an instrument. Just as a musician must adjust each string to resonate in perfect harmony, you must adjust the inner strings of your mind and spirit to resonate with the frequency of your desires. If you seek peace, you must first cultivate peace within yourself. If you desire abundance, you must attune your mind to the frequency of abundance, releasing the vibrations of lack and fear. The external world is merely a reflection, and it will not shift until the inner world has been tuned to the correct frequency. Correspondence also teaches us that the material world is not separate from the spiritual or mental realms but is in constant interaction with them. Every thought, every belief, ripples through the spiritual and material dimensions, leaving an imprint on both. This is why it is said that the physical world is a reflection of the spiritual world, and vice versa. To influence the physical, you must understand the spiritual forces that shape it. To transform your outer circumstances, you must engage with the inner forces of mind, spirit, and energy. The adept knows that reality is fluid, not fixed, and that by shifting the inner reality, the outer must follow suit. Yet, this is not merely an abstract concept. The principle of correspondence can be observed in everyday life. Have you ever noticed how, when you are filled with joy and confidence, opportunities seem to flow effortlessly into your life? Conversely, when you are plagued by doubt and negativity, challenges seem to multiply, and doors that were once open begin to close. This is correspondence at work. The outer reality mirrors your inner state, like two sides of the same coin. The key is to harness this principle consciously, to use it as a tool for shaping your life rather than allowing unconscious patterns to dictate your reality. One of the great insights of this principle is that it empowers you to take full responsibility for your life. You are not at the mercy of external circumstances. Rather, you are the creator of them. If there is disharmony in your external world, it is a reflection of something within you that is asking to be addressed. This is not a cause for guilt or blame, but an invitation to evolve. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, offers you the gift of correspondence so that you may see clearly what within you needs to be transformed, healed, or aligned. Each challenge you face in the outer world is a message from the universe, a reflection of an inner dynamic that calls for your attention and mastery. As you contemplate the principle of correspondence, reflect on the areas of your life where there is misalignment between your desires and your reality. What thoughts or beliefs are you holding within that are at odds with what you wish to create? Where are your emotions pulling you in directions that contradict your higher intentions? By bringing awareness to these inner dynamics, you can begin to realign your inner world with your outer goals, creating a harmonious resonance that will reflect in all areas of your life. In mastering this principle, you take the first step toward becoming a conscious co-creator with the universe. No longer will you feel as though life is happening to you. Instead, you will understand that life is responding to you, to the vibrations you send out through your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. As within, so without. As above, so below. When the inner world aligns with the outer, you experience a state of flow, where your desires manifest with ease, and your actions are supported by the forces of the cosmos. This is the secret known to the initiates of the ancient mystery schools, the sages who walked the hidden paths of knowledge. They understood that to change the outer world, one must first change the inner. And they left behind this wisdom for those who seek to transcend the limitations of ordinary existence and rise into the realms of mastery. As you continue your journey of self-realization, let the principle of correspondence be your guide. With each step you take, examine the harmony between your inner and outer worlds, and know that the key to transformation lies within. The universe is your mirror, and through the power of correspondence, you have the ability to shape both the reflection and the reality. Chapter 6. Polarity in Action, Harnessing Opposites for Empowerment. The Hermetic principle of polarity, one of the sacred teachings passed down through the ages, reveals that everything in existence contains its opposite. Within this duality lies the key to profound empowerment. Night exists because of day, joy because of sorrow, and strength because of weakness. Each aspect of life is defined by its counterpart, and it is through the mastery of these opposites that true personal growth and empowerment are achieved. This principle does not call for the rejection of one side in favor of the other, but instead urges the seeker to embrace the entirety of existence, both the light and the dark, the positive and the negative. In the vast corridors of occult knowledge, those who walked the path of initiation understood that the universe is built upon these polarities. It is in this cosmic dance between opposites that the movement of life and consciousness occurs. But polarity is not a static state. It is fluid, and the adept learns to flow between the poles with grace and wisdom, knowing that mastery lies not in staying fixed at one end but in understanding and harmonizing the spectrum. Polarity, as taught by the Hermetic sages, suggests that seemingly opposing forces are not truly separate. Instead, they are merely different degrees of the same essence. Take, for instance, the concept of hot and cold. While they appear as opposites, they are both expressions of temperature, existing on the same continuum. Similarly, love and hate, light and darkness, success and failure, all reside on a spectrum of experience. The realization that one can move along this spectrum, rather than being stuck at one pole, offers immense freedom and power. The adept learns to recognize the unity in duality and to transmute negative experiences into positive outcomes. One of the greatest illusions in life is the belief that we must eliminate the negative aspects of our being in order to progress. Many are taught to suppress or reject fear, anger, doubt, or failure, believing that only by focusing on the positive can they achieve empowerment. But the ancient wisdom reminds us that true mastery comes not from avoidance but from integration. It is not about eradicating fear but learning to transmute fear into courage, not about denying darkness but recognizing it as a necessary counterpart to light. This is the alchemical process at work, the turning of lead into gold within the crucible of the soul. To harness the power of polarity is to understand that both sides of every spectrum have their value. The wise alchemist does not discard the lead in their pursuit of gold. Instead, they recognize that the base material is essential for transformation. Likewise, our perceived weaknesses or challenges are not to be feared or rejected but to be worked with, understood, and elevated. Polarity offers the opportunity to take the negative aspects of our lives, whether they be failures, emotional turmoil, or inner conflicts, and use them as fuel for empowerment. Imagine two poles, love and hate. Many may believe these forces to be entirely separate, but in truth, they exist on the same scale of emotion. The difference between them is merely one of degree. By understanding this, you can begin to shift your internal state along this spectrum. The same energy that fuels hatred can be transmuted into love. The alchemical process of polarity is one of raising the vibration of any state to its higher counterpart. This is not an abstract concept but a practical tool for navigating life's challenges. When faced with failure, you can shift its energy toward learning and growth. When gripped by fear, you can transmute that fear into action and courage. Mastering polarity requires a deep awareness of your internal landscape. Begin by recognizing the polarities at play in your life. Where do you feel torn between opposites? Is there a tension between your desire for success and your fear of failure? Between your yearning for peace and the chaos that surrounds you? These tensions are not obstacles but opportunities for growth. By consciously engaging with both sides of the spectrum, you can transform conflict into harmony, weakness into strength, and limitation into potential. It is through this process of integrating opposites that we access our full range of power. The initiate who embraces both light and dark becomes whole, for they have learned that true empowerment comes not from favoring one side over the other but from accepting and mastering the totality of existence. The dance between the poles becomes a source of energy, propelling the seeker forward on their path of self-realization. The very forces that once seemed to oppose one another become complementary, each enriching the other. In the occult teachings, the alchemical marriage is a symbol of this integration of opposites. It is the union of the masculine and feminine energies, the conscious and unconscious mind, the active and the receptive forces within the self. This sacred union does not dissolve polarity but harmonizes it, creating a dynamic balance that unlocks hidden potentials. The masculine, symbolizing action and will, is empowered by the feminine, which represents intuition and receptivity. When these forces are united within, the individual transcends the limitations of duality and taps into a state of inner harmony and power. Reflect now on the polarities within yourself. What aspects of your being have you been rejecting, fearing, or suppressing? Have you been trying to move solely toward the light, ignoring the wisdom that the darkness holds? Or have you been so focused on overcoming weakness that you have failed to see how that very weakness contains the seeds of strength? Polarity teaches that neither side is complete without the other. It is in the integration of both that you will find your greatest empowerment. As you walk the path of self-mastery, remember that polarity is not your enemy but your ally. It is the tension between opposites that fuels creation, growth, and transformation. Each time you encounter resistance in life, whether in the form of external challenges or internal struggles, view it as an opportunity to engage with polarity. Recognize that every obstacle contains its opposite. Every fear carries the potential for courage. Every failure holds the promise of success, and every moment of darkness is an invitation to embrace the light. By consciously working with polarity, you become the alchemist of your own life. You learn to move fluidly between the poles, harnessing the power of both to create harmony, growth, and empowerment. The energy that once felt divided and conflicted now becomes unified and purposeful, propelling you forward on your journey towards self-mastery. And as you continue to explore the depths of this ancient wisdom, you will find that the mastery of polarity is one of the most profound keys to unlocking your hidden power. Chapter 7. Gnostic Knowledge, Discovering Your Divine Power. The Gnostics, those ancient seekers of hidden truths, understood the profound and essential nature of inner knowledge, gnosis. To truly know oneself is to unlock the mysteries of the universe, for within every soul burns a spark of the divine. This knowledge, this gnosis, is not intellectual or academic. It is the deep, experiential realization of the divine presence within. The journey to success, to mastery over one's life, begins with the awakening of this inner power. The divine spark resides in each of us, waiting to be uncovered and brought into full expression. In Gnostic teachings, the material world is often seen as a place of illusion, where the soul has become entrapped and veiled in ignorance. This ignorance is the root of all limitation and suffering, for it obscures our true nature and potential. To break free from this bondage, the Gnostics teach that one must embark on a journey inward, a journey not just of self-reflection but of deep spiritual awakening. The divine spark is not something external to be sought after. It is already within, yet it remains dormant until we awaken to its presence. To access this divine power, we must first confront the illusions that cloud our understanding of who we truly are. In Gnostic cosmology, the soul's entrapment in the material world is mirrored by the mind's imprisonment in false beliefs and limiting perceptions. The false self, constructed by societal conditioning, fear, and ignorance, veils the divine nature within. This false self clings to external validation, material success, and fleeting pleasures, mistaking them for true fulfillment. But the Gnostics remind us that true power and success come not from what we achieve in the external world but from the awakening of our inner divinity. To know oneself is to peel back the layers of illusion that obscure the soul's true light. This process of discovery requires deep introspection and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. The divine spark within is pure, but it is often buried beneath the accumulated debris of unexamined thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Gnostic wisdom teaches that liberation comes through direct experience of this divine essence. It is not enough to intellectually understand that we are divine. We must feel it, live it, and allow it to transform our consciousness. As the soul awakens to its divine nature, it begins to see the world through new eyes. The material world, once perceived as a place of entrapment and limitation, is revealed as a reflection of the divine mind. The Gnostic seeker realizes that the boundaries imposed by the physical world are not fixed. They are illusions created by the mind. Success, therefore, is not defined by material accomplishments alone but by the expansion of consciousness and the realization of one's infinite potential. The awakened soul no longer seeks validation from the external but draws strength from the inner wellspring of divine power. This awakening process is not a singular event but an ongoing journey of discovery. As the soul sheds the layers of illusion, it grows ever closer to its true nature. Gnosis is the gradual unfolding of divine wisdom within the individual, and with each step forward, the seeker gains greater clarity, purpose, and empowerment. The divine spark, once dimmed by the distractions and illusions of the material world, begins to shine brightly, illuminating the path ahead. In this light, the seeker comes to understand that they are not a passive victim of circumstances but a co-creator with the divine, capable of shaping their reality according to the higher principles of love, wisdom, and truth. To truly access the divine power within, the Gnostics teach that one must cultivate inner stillness and silence. In the noise and distractions of modern life, it is easy to lose touch with the quiet voice of the divine within. But through practices such as meditation, contemplation, and inner reflection, the seeker can tune into this inner guidance and wisdom. The divine spark speaks to us in the language of intuition, insight, and inspiration, but we must be willing to listen. When the mind is clouded with fear, doubt, or distraction, the voice of the divine is drowned out. It is in moments of stillness that we connect with our true power. The power of Gnosis is not just a personal liberation, it is a universal truth. Gnostic teachings remind us that the divine spark within each individual is connected to the greater cosmic order. As we awaken to our divine nature, we also awaken to the realization that we are part of something far greater than ourselves. The personal journey of self-discovery becomes a path of service, as we recognize our interconnectedness with all beings. The divine spark within us is the same spark that animates the cosmos, and to awaken to this truth is to align with the flow of divine creation. In practical terms, this realization translates into a life of purpose and alignment. When we discover our divine power, we are no longer driven by egoic desires or fears. Instead, we are guided by a higher calling, a sense of inner knowing that leads us toward greater fulfillment and success, not just for ourselves, but for the collective. True success, in this context, is not measured by wealth or status but by the extent to which we live in harmony with our divine nature and contribute to the greater good of the world. As you reflect on these Gnostic teachings, consider the ways in which you may have forgotten or overlooked your own divine nature. Where have you allowed the illusions of the material world to obscure the truth of who you are? Have you been chasing external success, mistaking it for true fulfillment, while ignoring the inner call of your soul? The divine spark within you is waiting to be awakened, and it holds the key to unlocking your highest potential. The journey of self-discovery is not always easy, but it is the most rewarding path you can take. Each step you take toward uncovering your divine power brings you closer to the truth of who you are and what you are capable of achieving. The limitations you once believed to be insurmountable will dissolve as you awaken to your true nature, and the success you seek will flow naturally from this inner alignment. As you walk this path, remember that the power you seek has always been within you. It is the divine spark, the essence of your true self, waiting to be rediscovered. Chapter 8. The Alchemical Marriage, Uniting the Mind and Spirit for Success. In the secret chambers of alchemical wisdom lies one of the most profound and mysterious concepts, the alchemical marriage. This sacred union represents the merging of opposites, the blending of dual forces that seem at odds but are, in truth, two aspects of a greater whole. The alchemists of old sought this union not in external objects or material substances, but within the innermost recesses of the soul. For true alchemy is a spiritual process, one that takes place in the crucible of the mind and spirit. To achieve lasting success, one must first experience this inner marriage, uniting the conscious and subconscious, the masculine and feminine, the mind and the heart. Only through this inner harmony can the soul ascend to its full power. The alchemical marriage is the ultimate union of opposites, a synthesis of the dualities that exist within every individual. In esoteric teachings, the conscious mind represents the active, directive force, often associated with the masculine principle. It is the part of us that makes decisions, sets goals, and shapes our intentions. The subconscious mind, in contrast, is the receptive, passive force, likened to the feminine principle. It is the wellspring of intuition, emotion, and hidden desires. The alchemists understood that these two forces, though seemingly contradictory, must be brought into harmony for one to achieve true mastery. Success in the outer world can only manifest when these inner forces are in balance, for it is the alignment of mind and spirit that creates the conditions for external achievement. In the process of the alchemical marriage, the conscious mind, or spirit, must learn to respect and honor the wisdom of the subconscious, or soul. The spirit may set goals and direct the course of one's life, but it is the soul that provides the emotional energy, the deep intuitive knowing, that brings those goals to fruition. When these two aspects of the self are out of alignment, when the mind seeks one thing while the soul desires another, frustration, confusion, and failure often follow. However, when the mind and spirit are united, when the conscious and subconscious are in harmony, the path to success becomes clear and effortless. The individual becomes a vessel for higher guidance, attuned to the flow of divine intelligence, and capable of manifesting their desires with ease. The ancient alchemists symbolized this inner union through the sacred marriage of the sun and the moon, representing the masculine and feminine forces. The sun, radiant and powerful, symbolizes the active, conscious mind, the force that illuminates and directs. The moon, soft and reflective, represents the subconscious, the deep reservoir of hidden wisdom and emotional energy. In the alchemical marriage, the sun and moon are joined in sacred union, creating a new and higher state of consciousness. This is the birth of the philosopher's stone, the metaphorical elixir that grants not only spiritual enlightenment but also mastery over the material world. This sacred union, however, is not achieved through force or domination. It requires a surrender of the ego, a willingness to listen to the deeper currents of the soul. The conscious mind must relinquish its rigid control, allowing the subconscious to guide and inform its decisions. This process is not a loss of power but an expansion of it, for the subconscious holds vast reservoirs of creative potential, wisdom, and insight that the conscious mind alone cannot access. When these two forces are united, they form a powerful synergy that propels the individual towards success on all levels: mental, emotional, spiritual, and material. To achieve this union requires deep inner work. The alchemists spoke of the purification of the soul, symbolized by the alchemical processes of nigredo, albedo, and rubedo. Nigredo, or the blackening stage, represents the dissolution of old patterns and beliefs. It is the death of the ego, the shedding of illusions that no longer serve one's higher purpose. This stage can be challenging, for it requires confronting the shadow aspects of the self, the parts that resist change or cling to fear and doubt. Yet it is only through this process of dissolution that true transformation can begin. Albedo, the whitening stage, follows as a period of illumination. Here, the soul begins to glimpse the higher truths that have been hidden beneath the surface. The subconscious, once clouded by confusion or misperception, becomes clear, allowing the light of the conscious mind to penetrate its depths. This is the stage of insight, where new possibilities emerge, and the individual begins to align with their higher purpose. Finally, rubedo, the reddening stage, symbolizes the integration of these new insights into daily life. The mind and spirit are now united, working in harmony to manifest one's desires. This is the true alchemical marriage, where the opposites within the self, light and shadow, masculine and feminine, conscious and subconscious, are integrated into a unified whole. The individual who has achieved this inner marriage becomes a master of their destiny, able to create success with intention and clarity, free from the inner conflicts that once held them back. As you contemplate the alchemical marriage, consider the areas of your life where there may be discord between your mind and spirit. Are your conscious desires in alignment with your deeper, subconscious yearnings? Or do you feel pulled in different directions, unsure of which path to follow? The path to success begins with inner harmony, with the unification of these seemingly opposite forces. Only when the mind and spirit are aligned can you fully access the power that lies within you, the power to create, to manifest, and to succeed beyond your wildest dreams. The alchemical marriage is a sacred process, one that requires patience, dedication, and trust in the wisdom of the soul. It is not a quick fix or a shortcut to success but a deep and transformative journey of self-discovery. As you walk this path, remember that the union of mind and spirit is not a destination but an ongoing process of refinement. Each step you take toward greater inner harmony will bring you closer to your goals, and with each union of opposites within, you will experience greater clarity, purpose, and empowerment. Reflect on the balance within your own life. How can you bring the masculine and feminine forces within you into harmony? How can you unite your conscious mind with the deeper wisdom of your soul? The answers lie within, waiting to be discovered through the sacred process of the alchemical marriage. In this union, you will find not only personal fulfillment but also the key to unlocking your greatest potential for success. Chapter 9. The Great Work: Achieving Mastery Through Continuous Inner Transformation. The journey towards self-mastery is not one of swift achievements or immediate results. It is, as the ancient sages have long taught, an ongoing process known as the Great Work. In the alchemical tradition, the great work is the sacred art of refining the self, not simply through outward accomplishments but through the continuous transformation of the inner being. This transformative process is both profound and patient, demanding dedication, perseverance, and a willingness to evolve beyond one's current limitations. The great work does not culminate in a final moment of enlightenment. Rather, it unfolds throughout one's lifetime, offering ever-deepening layers of growth and wisdom. The essence of the great work is found in the idea that the human soul is an evolving entity, always in the process of refining and perfecting itself. Just as alchemists sought to transform base metals into gold, so too do we strive to transmute the base aspects of our nature, fear, ignorance, and ego, into the gold of wisdom, love, and spiritual illumination. But this process is not linear. It requires cycles of breaking down and rebuilding, of dissolving old beliefs and patterns, and then reintegrating higher truths into our being. The great work teaches us that transformation is not something to be rushed. It is something to be honored and nurtured over time. In the alchemical stages of nigredo, albedo, and rubedo, we see the blueprint for the great work of inner transformation. Nigredo, or the blackening, represents the stage of dissolution and purification. It is here that we confront the shadow aspects of ourselves, the fears and doubts that have kept us bound to old ways of being. In this stage, the soul must pass through a symbolic death, shedding the ego's grip and surrendering to the greater forces of transformation. Though this stage is often uncomfortable, it is necessary. Without the dissolution of the old, there can be no space for the new to emerge. Following nigredo is albedo, the whitening, which symbolizes illumination and the awakening of higher consciousness. In this stage, the individual begins to see with greater clarity, as the light of truth dispels the darkness of ignorance. This is a time of revelation, where one begins to understand the deeper meaning of their experiences and gains insight into the patterns that have shaped their life. Albedo is the stage of purification, where the soul is cleansed of its attachments to illusion and is prepared to receive the higher wisdom that comes with enlightenment. Yet, this stage is not the final destination. It is merely a step toward the greater integration that follows. Rubedo, or the reddening, represents the final stage of integration, where the individual unites the wisdom gained in the earlier stages with their daily life. In this stage, spiritual truth is no longer an abstract concept but a living reality. The mind, body, and spirit are aligned, and the individual becomes a vessel through which higher forces can manifest in the world. The great work, in its essence, is about achieving this integration, where the inner transformation becomes outwardly expressed as success, peace, and fulfillment. Yet, even here, the journey continues. For as one layer of the self is perfected, another deeper layer emerges, calling for further refinement. The great work is often symbolized by the image of the philosopher's stone, a legendary substance believed to transmute base metals into gold and grant immortality. But in esoteric teachings, the philosopher's stone is not a physical object. It is the perfected self, the individual who has undergone the full process of transformation and achieved mastery over their thoughts, emotions, and actions. The philosopher's stone represents the inner alchemist who has found the balance between the material and the spiritual, the mind and the heart, and who can now navigate the world with wisdom, compassion, and power. This ongoing process of self-mastery requires a deep commitment to one's inner journey. It demands that we not only seek external success but that we also look within to refine our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. For it is within that the true gold of the great work is found. Success in the outer world, whether it be in relationships, career, or personal achievements, is a reflection of the inner work we have done. The more we refine our inner being, the more we align with the natural flow of the universe, allowing us to manifest our desires with ease and grace. Yet, the great work is not without its challenges. There will be times when the process feels slow, when the old patterns of thought and behavior resist change, and when it seems as though the transformation is happening too gradually. But it is in these moments of resistance that the most profound breakthroughs occur. The alchemists knew that the most potent transformations take place under the greatest pressure, and so too must we endure the discomfort of change if we are to achieve mastery. Patience, trust, and perseverance are the keys to navigating this journey. As you reflect on your own great work, consider the areas of your life where you are currently undergoing transformation. What aspects of your being are in need of refinement? What old beliefs or patterns are you ready to dissolve, and what new truths are waiting to emerge? Remember that the process of transformation is not about reaching a final destination but about embracing the ongoing journey of growth. Each step you take toward greater self-mastery brings you closer to the realization of your highest potential. The great work is a sacred path, one that has been walked by countless mystics, sages, and alchemists throughout the ages. It is the path of those who seek to know themselves fully, to transcend the limitations of the ego, and to awaken to their divine nature. And as you walk this path, know that you are not alone. You are part of an ancient lineage of seekers, all of whom have undertaken the same journey of inner transformation. The wisdom of the great work is within you, waiting to be unlocked. With each moment of self-reflection, with each choice to align with your higher truth, you move closer to the fulfillment of your inner alchemy. Mastery is not a one-time event but a continuous unfolding of your true potential. The more you engage in the great work, the more you will discover the depth of your inner power. And as you integrate the wisdom gained along this journey, you will become not only the creator of your own success but also a beacon of transformation for others. This is the true purpose of the great work, not only to achieve personal mastery but to inspire and uplift those around you, guiding them on their own path of self-discovery and transformation. Now, as we near the conclusion of this journey, take a moment to reflect on the progress you have made. How have you grown? What new insights have you gained about yourself and your path? The great work continues, but each step forward brings you closer to the realization of your highest self, the self that is capable of achieving not only personal success but also contributing to the greater good of all. As we near the conclusion, if you've been enjoying the audiobook, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Drop a comment below and share your biggest takeaway. Conclusion: living the path of inner mastery. As we arrive at the culmination of this journey, it becomes clear that the path to inner mastery is not a destination, but a continuous, evolving process, a sacred dance between our inner and outer worlds, between spirit and matter, between the seen and unseen. The teachings we have explored are not mere theoretical ideas. They are keys to unlocking the boundless potential that lies dormant within every individual. And yet, the full realization of that potential does not happen all at once. It is a gradual unfolding, like the blossoming of a flower, each petal revealing a deeper layer of our true essence. Living the path of inner mastery requires an ongoing commitment to self-reflection and transformation. This is the great work that the ancient alchemists spoke of, the refinement of the soul, the awakening of the divine spark, and the alignment of the mind, body, and spirit. The external successes we seek, whether in our careers, relationships, or personal achievements, are only reflections of the inner work we are doing. They are manifestations of our alignment with the higher laws of the universe, the same laws that have been passed down through the mystical teachings of Hermeticism, alchemy, Rosicrucianism, and Gnosticism. It is essential to recognize that inner mastery is not a linear path. There will be moments of profound insight and clarity, as well as times of doubt and confusion. This is the nature of transformation. Just as the alchemist must endure the darkness of Negredo before reaching the illumination of Albedo, so too must we pass through periods of inner conflict and challenge in order to refine ourselves. These challenges are not obstacles to be feared, but opportunities to deepen our understanding and expand our awareness. Each trial we face is a test of our resolve, a reminder that the path to mastery is forged through perseverance, discipline, and unwavering dedication to our highest self. As we continue to walk this path, we must remember the teachings of the Hermetic principle of mentalism: all is mind. Our thoughts are the architects of our reality, shaping not only our inner experience but also the world around us. By mastering our thoughts, we gain the power to create the life we desire, free from the limitations of fear, doubt, and insecurity. But this mastery requires vigilance. It requires us to become aware of the subtle patterns of thought that influence our emotions and actions, and to consciously choose thoughts that are in alignment with our highest truth. Similarly, the Hermetic principle of correspondence reminds us that what we experience in the outer world is a reflection of our inner state. If we seek harmony, success, and fulfillment in our lives, we must first cultivate those qualities within ourselves. This is the essence of the great work, the realization that the external world is a mirror of our inner landscape. When we bring our thoughts, emotions, and actions into harmony, we align ourselves with the natural flow of the universe, and success becomes not something we must chase, but something that flows effortlessly toward us. But perhaps the most profound lesson of this journey is found in the Hermetic principle of polarity. It is here that we learn the importance of embracing both light and shadow, strength and weakness, success and failure. Inner mastery is not about rejecting one side of ourselves in favor of the other. It is about integrating both polarities into a balanced whole. It is through this integration that we discover our true power, the power that comes from knowing and accepting ourselves fully, in all our complexity. By embracing both our light and our shadow, we transcend the duality of the ego and step into the wholeness of our divine nature. As you reflect on your own journey of inner mastery, consider the ways in which these teachings have already begun to transform your life. How has your relationship with yourself shifted? How have your thoughts, emotions, and actions become more aligned with your true purpose? The path of inner mastery is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong practice. It is a path that requires us to show up every day with an open heart and a willing spirit, ready to learn, grow, and evolve. The ancient sages understood that true mastery is not measured by external success alone, but by the depth of one's inner transformation. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing oneself fully, the inner peace that arises from being in harmony with the universe, and the profound sense of purpose that comes from living in alignment with one's highest truth. This is the legacy of the great work, an inner mastery that radiates outward, touching the lives of others and contributing to the collective evolution of humanity. As you move forward from this book, I invite you to carry these teachings with you, not as abstract concepts, but as living truths that you can apply in every aspect of your life. Remember that the power to transform your reality lies within you. It is not something to be sought outside, but something to be awakened and cultivated through your own thoughts, beliefs, and actions. The path of inner mastery is your birthright, and each step you take along this path brings you closer to the realization of your true potential. And so, I leave you with this final reflection. What will your great work be? How will you continue to refine yourself, to awaken your inner power, and to live in alignment with your highest truth? The journey is yours to continue, and the wisdom of the ages is within you, waiting to be unlocked. The path of inner mastery is not an easy one, but it is the most rewarding journey you will ever undertake. For it is through this journey that you will discover not only your true self, but also the boundless possibilities that lie within you. May you walk this path with courage, wisdom, and an open heart. The journey has only just begun. Before you go, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're stuck, no matter how hard you try? Like you're just repeating the same cycles, waiting for something to click? You're not alone. I know how that feels. Here's the thing. The change you're searching for doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from knowing where to start and building a system that works for you. That's exactly why I created Project 24, a 24-week guide to help you design the life you deserve. Imagine waking up every day with clarity, confidence, and the discipline to turn your dreams into reality. If that sounds like the kind of transformation you're ready for, the link is in the description. This could be the first step toward lasting change. Are you ready to take it?